Here he comes. Come on, Bill. Woo!
Bill, why do you do the job that you do?
It's like, well, God's blessed us, so maybe we can do some work in His kingdom. And I've always had a heart for JFA since going on the trips to Jackson, Mississippi, and other places. So, yeah, we bring the stuff. They sell the stuff,
sure,
but it's still trying to preach the gospel always, and if necessary, use words.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. It's just a bond you build up. I think just creating relationships and then holding them up. Because some of these people, you only see 3-4 times a year for not that long, and yet they're still like family members, and everybody gives you a hug or whatever when you get there, and it's just really nice. Like Colorado City, it's kind of got a whole different vibe than what you might say Annville or Hayden would have.
Yeah.
Because of what happened there versus what's happening. You get into Kentucky and it's so, I don't know, economy is so depressed because of coal, and that was their big thing, and now coal's kind of going away. But then you go out to Colorado City and it's not so much the economy as it is the soul, with the way Jesus was presented to them. And there's a lot of places that would take anything.
Yeah.
But it was always JFA's thing that you had to be involved with Christian community development.
Yep.
So, like, we've got a load going to Annville, the next one. And, their reach out to the community, a big part of that is the kids' camps in the summer. And then also home reconstruction. We got a group going out here in a few weeks, and I'm sure they'll be involved with some of that. But then their thrift store helps fund their outreach to the community.
Right.
But they also have pretty good prices on them because, like Deanna Caldwell in Hayden, Kentucky, too, she'll say they can't afford to go to Dollar General.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? But, so they come to her, and she sells everything for like $1. I think Ann does, too. I'm not sure exactly what Annville puts on for prices, but a lot of, and then a lot of stuff gets given away. So.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just a good place to be here. So many people can't afford Dollar General. They can't afford Walmart. And when you've got a lot of kids, like this one lady's got 11 kids.
Wow.
11. Every school year I fix stuff up for her. And she couldn't do it.
We have a smaller mission over in Jackson County, and that's the one that we initially wanted to help Jackson County. Well, it is one of the poorest, if not the poorest, in the state. So there was no income coming in, even though we sold everything like for $1. Actually, over there, when we started, we sold everything for 50 cents. And we moved over here to help that one out. And, all of our clothes here are $1. All of our shoes are $1. Purses are $1. Try to meet their needs, showing the love of Christ in not only spiritual, but in taking care of their, material needs.
But anyway, the general thing was, Ann told me this at AMOH. She had a mom come in one day with her, I think he's like 16-year-old son. And her husband had just passed away. And all she wanted was a suit coat for her son for the funeral. Well, Ann says, and she says, I can't pay you for more than $1 because she sells everything for $1.
Yeah.
Well, Ann says, let's go look. So they found a suit coat, fit him pretty nice. Well, it's a suit.
Yeah.
So you got the coat, you got pants that go with it, and well, let's try the pants on too. Well, she says, I can't afford any pants. She says, well, let's just try it on. Well, yeah, it was good. Well, I think a shirt would be nice. A tie would be nice. This kind of went on, and it's like, wow, he's really looking good, but now we should have some shoes. Well, pretty soon one thing led to another, and he was all decked out and all this stuff, and then the lady says, I can't pay you for this, Ann. She says, I just can't do it. So Ann says, well, that's okay. You know, they kept looking for stuff as they were going. But anyway, then, yeah, it got to the paying time. Well, the lady reaches in her, I think it was just a plastic garbage bag that she was carrying. And she had a baggie with 100 pennies in it. She says, I can only pay you $1. And, you know, he had probably $6 or $7 worth of stuff. You know,
Sure.
not a big deal,
Yeah.
but it was to this lady.
Yeah.
And then Ann says, you know what, dear, why don't you just keep your $1 and we'll just call it even. And she goes, well, why would you do that? Well, then Ann says, then was my chance to, you know, share about Jesus. She said, well, I had a debt too that somebody paid for.
Mm.
And so she kind of explained how her debt was paid
Oh, yeah.
through Jesus Christ. So, you know, I guess there's the bottom line right there.
Yeah. To give people an idea, you know, when you drop something off here in Rock Valley, as it gets sorted, as it gets fixed, as it gets packed and shipped, it ends up in a different location to be used by someone else out there, to whether that's for a ministry purpose in helping fund the ministry, but also giving people who can't afford to buy a suit or anything for their father's funeral the ability to do that. And the people that work in ministry, that work in those ministries, are there to share the good news of Jesus. They're there to share the gospel like we are. And it's a way that we can support them in doing that.
You know, you say that. I took a picture one day out back. We got the big carts where we put all the bags in, and then they go into the sorting room. But there was a cart standing there, it's about half full, and there was a suit hanging on the side. Sometimes they'll hang a little bit nice, you know, if they got hangers that they come on. So that was hanging on the side, and that made me think of the deal by Ann there at Appalachian Mission of Hope. So I just took a picture of it, and then I showed it to a few people. I says, take a look at this picture. You see anything interesting? And they'd look and say, no. And I said, well, yeah, it really is just kind of a normal thing. But I said, look at that suit. It's like, okay. Well, I had told Ann after she had told me that story, I says, you know, you think about it, God had a plan for that suit probably when it was made.
Yeah, right?
Because we don't know who dropped it off.
No,
Whoever dropped it off had no idea where it was going to go, and yet it ends up in Berea, Kentucky, and end up hearing about Jesus because somebody needed a suit coat.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
but you look at the cart and you would say, I don't see anything special.
Right.
And there wasn't,
No.
except
Not
for that
to
story.
us. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's neat. That's some great stuff that we can hopefully get people to see what this sort of can be done, even when after they drop it off.
Right. Yeah.